Hey folks, welcome to Kitchen Sink episode 3. My tiny little apartment quarantine kitchen. Um, Today we're just gonna be making my normal full breakfast that I do on the weekends. Um, this is gonna be also, as usual, a little lot less of this is what I have laying around because it's still pretty early in my quarantine and I'm well stocked. And contrary to popular belief, grocery stores aren't really running out of anything. Um, One thing I do want to mention is that I did something last night cooking, well, kind of cooking, and I wish I had recorded it. But basically, I made soap on my cooktop. And not soap as in I actually boiled lye and everything, but this junk right here. I wish I had recorded for you. This is a messy endeavor. But what happens is in my trash picking, whatever life, I've come up with a tremendous amount of bars of soap. At one point, I actually had a cat litter tub full of soap. And despite giving and donating as much as possibly places could take, I still had this gigantic amount. And at some point in time, I ran out of dish soap. So what I did was chop up a bunch of those bars of soap and boil them 4 hours until they were liquefied, and then poured them into this tub where they congeal into like a goopy, soapy substance that I call poop goop because it has the consistency of poop. Um, but it's a good all-purpose cleaner, and it's a good way to use up if you have 8,000 of those leftover bars of cheap ass soap nobody wants, especially those tiny little hotel ones. Um, I'll tell you, it is a bit of a messy endeavor because you almost never do it without it boiling over a little bit onto your stove, and then you wind up with dried soap on your stove. I recommend a plastic scraper. And you want to do it in a well-ventilated area because you are boiling lye in that stuff, and that can upset some people's respiratory system. So, then that poisonous crap I just made in my kitchen, let's go ahead and cook some food on the thing I've just cooked soap on. All right, let's start with potatoes. I'm going to make basically breakfast potatoes, but I'm used to just calling them hash browns. But those I think are shredded. People use hash browns and home fries and all that crap interchangeably. I think the official definition of hash browns might be the shredded kind. Don't really care. I'm in the Midwest, and we use all those terms kind of interchangeably. And here's something I discovered a little while back with my ex-wife's parents, who were both in their 50s at the time. When my ex-wife's mother actually went to a store to buy specifically a potato she could microwave in the oven to make a baked potato. Whereas I have been microwaving baked potatoes for years and had no idea why she had to buy a special potato for it. This is something my mother taught me, but oddly, I find it's real hit or miss on who actually knows that you can make a baked potato in the microwave. Since we are making the breakfast potatoes, you don't just take raw potatoes. That might work if you have a flash fryer, but the real thing is you need to bake them first. You start from a baked potato. Now I'm stabbing them. That is the difference between that microwavable baked potato and a regular one. Is you need to aerate these potatoes a little bit. They will explode in the microwave if you're not careful. I found that one out the hard way, just like I found out the hard way not to put metal in the microwave. I left the spoon in my ravioli when I was a kid. I didn't blow up a microwave, but it did spark before I realized, oh, you're not supposed to do that. In my day and age, we didn't have the internet in our homes growing up, so we had to learn everything the hard way. All right, so I'm going to put that on for 3 minutes. While we're waiting on that to go, I have some other leftover stuff. Now, this is definitely, I have this stuff laying around. I got these bananas. As you can see, they're getting kind of brown. So I'm going to make a little bit of a milkshake. As you see next to me, I have my coffee brewing. Now, I do live in a city, but I hate throwing away food waste. I prefer to compost it. Now, it's a lot harder when you're in a city, but I have a garden at my mother's with a compost bin, just a metal drum. If you're a business and you don't want to throw away your food waste, I highly recommend the Rust Belt Riders in the Cleveland area. they'll come and pick up your food waste and turn it into compost to grow plants in. They started out as a company that would just go around on bicycles. Now they've got a much larger company. I'm going to need the ice cream for my milkshake. I've got some leftover Superman ice cream that's starting to frost over. It's been in my freezer for a long time. This is my favorite flavor of ice cream. Other than getting it in those shops that still have the big tubs, I could not find this in the stores to save the life of me. I could buy one of those giant 50-gallon tubs they sell they have the ice cream shops at Gordon Food Supply. But as you can see in my tiny little kitchen, I don't have a freezer that can fit that. It wasn't until a Myers came to our town that I found their off-brand version they call Superman. I'm guessing this disappeared a while back when Superman became more marketable for movies and media in the 90s. And this ice cream that had been called Superman for years, somebody started complaining about the copyright license. Still my favorite, though. All right, a couple of scoops of ice cream. As you can see, I'm wearing my, also wearing my work gear. Every so often I get bored. You can't see this very well, but I'll get a doodle on my work pants. That one is a Krang doodle, and that one's a Ninja Turtle doodle. I'm not sure if that can show up. Those are specifically for my son, Xander. We like to doodle those guys all over the place. I also have a car, which the hood is a chalkboard, and we like to doodle it on there. But said car died on me. Even though I'm in quarantine, banks are still in effect. And unless I didn't want to pay my rent this month, I had to go deposit my paycheck. My car got me there. My car didn't leave. The fuel pump has finally died. Those of you that know me personally know that my car is very unique. It is a 2001 Buick Century, but it is painted rainbow. Apparently, I don't know how to use my blender. I had it right first. All right, our potatoes are done. I want to slice these open just to let them air out a little bit. Just slicing them in half, long ways, because they are too hot to hold to cut up right now. But if I let them air a little bit, they'll be a little cooler. All right. Now this probably won't be a very thick milkshake because the ratio of milk was pretty heavy compared to it. But I kept the ratio high because I might want to pour some coffee into it. Here's a little heads up. If you own one of these fancy blenders like this Ninja, which is only thanks to my foodie mother that I have something so fancy. Don't throw that blade into like your tub of dishwater and then try to fish it back out later. It's razor sharp. I highly recommend just rinsing it off right now. Although this is probably still going to require a secondary washing. This stuff sticks to everything. Oh, you know what? I did forget something I put in the last version of this. I'm going to put the blade back on. I put peanut butter in the last one. Been recently told that my protein is running a little low. So, peanut butter has protein in it, right? Sure. Let's go that way. Then I have subsisted for years off of the food I get from food banks, which is part of the reason I do this kitchen sink recipes. Is because I just have to work with whatever they give me. I'm pretty sure I just ate hair. I'm not sure where that came from. But if there's any piece of hair laying around my apartment that's big enough for me to get my mouth, probably due to my son's mother. She has very long, lovely. As you can see, it's not mine. All right, let's put that peanut butter in there. Now, since I had all that food coloring yesterday, if I really wanted to mess around for my son's sake, I would put some drops of color in here. I'm not going to do that today because I just don't feel like it. Yeah, that peanut butter meat, that's going to have to be washed the old-fashioned way. One of the things I absolutely loathe about this tiny little apartment is that despite advertised when I signed my lease, this one didn't come with a dishwasher. And I hate washing dishes like nobody's business. Partly because not only having to do it at home as my chores growing up, I also, all of my first jobs from 14 to nearly 16 were washing dishes. And yeah, I got really sick of washing dishes. Slice up these potatoes while I'm waiting for that to fill up. Basically, I'm just dicing them into breakfast-sized pieces. Be back in just a second. All right. I don't like to blow my nose on camera and then have everyone think I've got the goddamn plague. I promise you, I'm quarantined. I mean, minus the part where I just admitted I had to leave to go cash my check and my car died. Good news is I didn't have to interact with the car repair place or the tow truck driver at all for that to happen. Partly because the car repair place won't be open till Monday. All right, so I just put a little bit of cooking oil into the pan for this. Let's warm that up. Usually go a little bit above medium. This stuff will spatter like crazy if you're not careful. Oh, you can see the potatoes I cut up. Now, while we're waiting, I wonder what my milkshake tastes like. Pretty good. Here's the part where I'm going to add the coffee. Because I am an addict. And you see the smoking there. That's probably from that soap I cooked yesterday. So let's hope it doesn't get into my food. I already got some other ingredients. I actually have a big old block of Velveeta cheese. Nothing about it is healthy at all. Most of it's probably not even real food. But I have laying around. And it lasts forever. I have a little bit of garlic left. Normally I would put some onions or green peppers in this, but I'm out of both of those. Now, the eggs. No Ryan breakfast is really complete without the eggs, which is why I was hoarding them. And then some toast, because I like my eggs sunny side up, and I like to dip. I'm just going to kind of stage everything and get it ready so that it all comes out hot at about the same time. Now, you can cook the potatoes long before you do the eggs. Start the eggs, because they stay hot for quite a while. What I need now is a metal spatula. Same situation here. I strongly recommend the metal spatula. You can use those plastic heat resistant ones, but don't use the regular plastic ones. They melt. I've learned this the hard way too. Lid. We're going to slice off a hunk of this cheese. Go on that later. I have some margarine. Once again, not healthy, but of the food that you get from the food bank, margarine sticks they give you like 1 billion of, which is why my freezer is overloaded with it right now. I also just dropped this. So we're just going to take a little hunk of the butter and stick it in the pan for the eggs. I strongly prefer cooking eggs in butter as opposed to, well, I guess this isn't real butter, but close enough, to oil. Just better taste, in my opinion. So, convenient. I'll save that for lunch. Guess we're just going to wait for that to heat up. Why do I feel like I'm missing? Oh, some pepper on it. I do like some pepper. There you go. When I was back in the day, my mother would actually save the old bacon grease to use for this too. I haven't had bacon in a very long time. It is not something giving away at the moment. I'll put a little bit of pepper on our potatoes. I like it. A bit of garlic. You can see I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel of my jar of garlic here. So next time I do these potatoes, they may be sans garlic. I mean, obviously I can go to the store and buy some garlic, but the whole point of my shtick here is to try to buy as little as possible. As you can tell by me making dish soap out of. That's it. By the way, that dish soap, if you don't rinse your dishes completely after using it, will still leave a soapy residue on your dishes. So it's not ideal. It's better as an all-purpose cleaner for other things. Floors. You can use it for dish soap. There's nothing unsanitary about it. About half the bars I use in it always say the words antibacterial all over them anyways, which all soap is technically antibacterial. All right. Cheese will go on last. So I'm going to give those a minute to cook. You want to brown them a little bit, then flip them over so they brown on both sides. I'll be back in a sec. I know this is the part of the program where I should entertain you with some more stories, but normally while I'm waiting for my food to cook in the morning, I will just sit on the internet and mess with things. I have no idea if you guys can hear what I'm saying. Okay. I'm sure it's well brown on that. Be careful you don't get spattered by hot grease. Oh, that's extra brown on that side. A little crispier than I normally like it, but it's not burned. Make sure you get these potatoes cooked over good, though. I will normally cook these a little slower, but I have an audience today. And normally Xander is with me when I'm cooking our breakfast on the weekend, which is why I make the bigger breakfast on the weekends. But he is quarantined away from me to keep his grandparents safe. Give that just a second. I'm going to set my now caffeinated banana peanut butter milkshake.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Okay. Ooh, nice brown. All right, let's get that cheese out of there. A few pieces. And I want it. Get on the potato. All right. So now I'm going to start the eggs. I'm actually going to turn that down pretty low. I don't need it any browner. I just want the cheese to melt. Runner again. I'm going to turn on to melt the butter for the eggs. Down with this cheese. No, don't put the pepper though. Melt. I promise you that it's just sinuses. I have been checking my temperature every day. Ohio's temperature has been yo-yoing and had a nice little thunderstorm last night. Melty cheese. Alright, this stuff will be fine quite a while longer. Butter is melted, as you can hear. Get a couple eggs into that. Right side up. Means you don't flip them. If you want eggs over easy, you flip them. They're still runny, but they get that cooked in white coating on both sides. I'm putting the eggshells in my compost. Good for your soil. I'm with coffee grounds. That's the wrong lid. That's the pepper. And as soon as I'm done with this, now it's time to put the toaster down. And okay, good and done. Check them out. I like it just to the point where all the clear goo disappears, but I still have all my orange goo. Tried to fold over on me. I would recommend cutting those eggs in half and only picking up one egg at a time as opposed to both. Yeah, toast popped. Now I suppose we'll need a fork for this endeavor. And there we go. Orion breakfast. All right. I'll see you guys next time.